So almost everything that I learned about being a leader, I learned from what was missing. I saw a lot of leaders willing to put their values on their posters, but rarely did I see them hold themselves accountable to those values. Instead, I saw too many leaders compromise their values when things got hard. And when I asked questions, those same leaders told me that I was being too idealistic, that leading with your values would inhibit growth and was too rigid, and that I didn't understand what it took to be a good leader. And you know what? For a long time, I believed them. I even passed up 2 promotions because I didn't think I had what it took to be a good leader. There just wasn't a roadmap for being the type of leader I wanted to see in the world. But after I became increasingly disillusioned by what I experienced was a lack of integrity and moral courage in leadership, I decided I'd give it a try. After all, I knew what not to do, and I figured I could just start there. But before I go any further, I want to pause and define what I mean by the word values, because I think this can often be a loaded word. I define values as a set of beliefs that are formed by our experiences and that serve as a type of a compass or a North Star. In short, values are our non-negotiables. And as you listen to me today, I want you to quietly ask yourself, what's your North Star? And what won't you give away even when things get hard? Because for me, as a little girl growing up in a really small rural community, I never saw women in leadership. And because of that, the values of representation and equity and access guide me. They are my North Star and my non-negotiables. So when I became the CEO at Aspire, I knew I was gonna make a million mistakes, but I also promised myself that I would lead with my values. And because there was no roadmap that I knew of, I decided to create one. I created a values in decision-making scorecard. And I wanted this tool to serve as a guide in making sure every decision we made at Aspire aligned with our values. And I also wanted to show the students that we work with that leading with your values is possible. And we use our values scorecard for just about everything, big and small. Like when we asked our students to weigh in on our strategic plan, they told us, keep doing what you're doing, do it for more kids, help us keep our same teachers year after year, and give us more chicken nuggets. So we put chicken nuggets through that value scorecard, and it helped us strike a balance between teaching healthy eating and keeping learning fun. The scorecard helped us make sure all our decisions, all of our everyday decisions, from our hiring, our curriculum, and our budget, matched our values. And then that scorecard became something else entirely. Last April, on a Sunday afternoon, I received a 3-sentence email. And that email told me that our federal funding, which represented over 1/3 of our budget and funded the 17 classroom teachers that mentored our students every day, had just been eliminated, effective immediately. Now that scorecard mattered more than ever, and I had a choice. Would I lead in the way that values had often been modeled to me, in the way that leadership had been modeled to me, or would I lead with my values? Well, that question, it turned out, was the easy one. I knew I was going to lead with my values, but the harder question was how. And I didn't know the answer to that when I woke up at 2 in the morning, picturing the faces of our students, and knowing that over 1/3 of these kiddos would now lose access to our program and have no place else safe to go after school. And I didn't know the answer when I thought I was literally gonna throw up the next day, pulling into the parking lot to tell our 17 classroom teachers that their positions had just been eliminated, effective immediately. But I had a roadmap, and one that would help me take the next step forward. When joining Aspire, I modified Race Forward's equity impact tool around Aspire's values of growth, excellence, joy, and connection. And I included my own values of representation, equity, and access, and involved our staff, our students, and our families in the process. That roadmap became my North Star. And because the classroom teachers knew I would lead with my values, every single one of them showed up for work the next day while I figured out the next steps, even with their funding and their contracts eliminated. In our community, they rallied around us. We raised enough money to hire back almost every single one of those classroom teachers within 5 days after losing our federal funding. And our parents trusted we'd lead with our values and keep our program at no cost, because the ability to pay should not interfere with the ability to access high-quality after-school programming or read at grade level or dream big. And our students, they saw us and they modeled our values back to us. They even organized a lemonade stand to help. And the staff knew I would do whatever I could to keep our doors open while also prioritizing their mental health. Because if we truly value our kids, then the people taking care of them also deserve to feel valued. And even on the hardest days, our hallways and our classrooms echoed with laughter. And today we are back to serving the same number of students we were serving pre-federal funding cuts while also strengthening our programming. We have a path forward. So as it turns out, despite what I was told, leading with values isn't too idealistic. It doesn't inhibit growth. It's not too rigid. It's 100% possible. It works, and it matters. And guess what? We don't need a crisis to lead differently. We can do it right now. Ask yourself, what's your North Star? What are your values and how do they show up in your leadership? Create your own version of a value scorecard and let it guide you in redefining what leadership can look like. Let it guide you in helping you know whose voices should be heard. Let's be the reason our students don't pass up promotions. Instead, let's be the reason that they choose to become leaders. Thank you.